I was 6, and then I came out here, I was turned 7, and then, you know, that's where some of that happened. The sexual part with my sister.
Tell me about what happened to you.
What
You were
happened?
born where?
I was born in Alabama. Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What part?
But I believe it'd be Mobile.
Mm-hmm. South.
You know, it got pictured on a birth certificate, but I believe it was Mobile. I'm not really sure, but on on a birth certificate is say Pritchard, which is next door to it.
Mm-hmm.
To
What was your family like?
what my family is like. You know, dysfunctional. You know, I know that for certain. But growing up, you know, we just regular family. You know, the fighting and stuff like that. Single parent home. And, you know, and so we carried on as, you know, my sister basically raised us, the one that I'm talking about, that, you know, this incest stuff happened with. And,
What happened to your sister?
well, I mean, I screwed my sister, and my brother was screwing her too, been screwing her for a long time. And, cause he's older than me, the one that I'm
When
talking
did that start?
about. Huh?
When did that start?
I don't know when they actually started, but when I came out here, I was 7, and so it started. I seen them do that to her, you know, during that time, and then I'm sure it carried on, you know, longer with him and her. With him and her.
I mean, you were 7. How old was your sister?
My sister had to be probably about 15 or 16. She about 6 or 7 years older than I am. And then my brother, he like, I think 4.5 years older than me, the one I'm talking about. Yeah, so you do the math on that. You know. No, I think he's probably about 6 years, something like that. Yeah, I know. So what other question you was asking me?
No, that's just. What was the dynamics in the family that was going on? Your mom was working.
My mom's worked. My mom's a single parent home. My mother worked most of the time, working a couple jobs, and so my sister was left to raise us. You know, the one that this happened with, and I got another older sister, but she wasn't living with us at the time, and so the one that's under her, you know, kind of raised us, and so we was together all the time, and she pretty much was the mom, you know, because my mother was gone, and when she come in,
you think that's a fairly common thing that was going on?
Yeah, I believe so in the South, because I mean, it's a lot. Most, you know, the families back there got 13, 14 kids, and so we all slept in the same bed, you know, because we poor. I slept with my sisters. I got another little sister, and we slept together. And so, of course, you know, we were close in that capacity, and so it wouldn't be nothing to, you know, turn over and, you know, rub my sister, or, you know, get, you know, or erection or something perhaps, you know, and do something to her, you know, and before you know it, you know, we, doing something we probably seen on TV or in a magazine or whatever, you know, curiosity or what have you, and so, you know, that happens, and then when we came out here. You know, we kind of like pulled a train on my sister, and then I stopped because my other brother did it too. He's older than me. He's a little older than me. My brother Tim, he's a little older than me, and so I realized something was wrong. I did it, you know, briefly, and so I stopped, but I'm sure it carried on with my older brother, the one that's older than me. Right next to me, and then my brother Carl is he's about 6 years older than me.
This was more than one of your sisters, or just one of them?
Just the one, because he's the one that been taking care of us, you know, like a mother, you know, cooking and taking us where we need to go.
So it wasn't necessarily like she was being forced into it. She was.
No, of course not. Of course not. No, and we never talked about it, even to this day. And I don't think they realize that I remember all this stuff, you know, and because, of course, we never talked about it. But now I know for a fact that, you know, they've been together a lot, my brother and my sister, that, you know, it probably continue because he's been screwing it for a while, you know. And and I think this is what causes me to, get in trouble and stay in trouble all this time. Been like suppressing it. And then prior to that, I told you that I had sex with my brother, his friends, and all that stuff when he was back in Alabama. And then I realized something was wrong, at that time too, and then I stopped, but it happened. And I don't really know how many times. I think it probably happened about a couple of times before I realized that, this is not normal. And I didn't resort back to it, but I don't know if he realized I remember all of that.
Do you think it impacts you today as an
Huh?
adult? Do you think it impacts your life as an adult?
Of course, for sure. I'm sure it does. It has, because we don't talk about that. It's been suppressed, and it was a form of abuse, from an older sibling and his friends or whatever. I don't think if they realized, what they were doing, or they probably was carrying on what they seen somebody else do, back at that time. It's a lot of that going on in the South. It probably elsewhere too, because I ran into a guy, that was doing the same thing, and he was so glad that I was able to share that with him, because he had been holding that inside himself. And then I told him about the book, the V.C. Andrews book about the Flowers in the Attic, and that's a book that explains, how this occurs, and how it's widespread. And then these two siblings, they married each other and had kids and continued that life, because they were stuck with each other, because their mother was out doing what she does, and she kind of like put them on the shelf, kind of like try to hide them. And the grandmother didn't like them and stuff like that. And so they had to learn how to take care of each other. And so that's what they did. And I don't know if that book, I know it helped me, but at the same time, I think it's more widespread than we realize.
People are just not talking about it.
Yeah, we don't, I haven't talked to my brothers and sisters about this ever. This is the first time. Matter of fact, I shared it with one other guy before, and because I wouldn't talk about it, of course I wouldn't talk about it. Now I don't feel nothing to talk about it, because I think it should be told, and it's something I want to get out, because it helps me, grow and get out of the things, problems that I'm having, because it's related, I believe.
Tell me what's going on in your adult life now.
Come again?
Tell me how you're.
Oh, right now, I'm just trying to. I just got out of prison, November. I got out of prison November for some robberies and stuff. But I've been in and out of jail over half of my life, and due to drug addiction, and I got myself off the methadone. I'm on, and so I've been kind of like messing around with it, fentanyl a little bit, trying to wean myself off. And I got a lightweight Jones now for that, but. I've been messing with drugs and stuff like that, but I'm finna clean up and all that now. I'm trying to do the best I can with what I have, and be strong, because now I'm free, and I don't have to worry about going back to prison or doing other things, because I have some marketable skills, and all I need is just a little assistance, to put what I was telling you about earlier in effect. And
How old are you now?
how old am I? I'm 59.
59.
Yeah, and so I've been in prison over half of my life. I did 37 years. I've been on the streets. Prior to this, I did 5 years and 6 months. This November, I just got out. But prior to that, I did 20 straight. And but I haven't been on the street in 15 months.
What was the 20 straight for?
What was it? Say it again?
The 20 years you did, what was that for?
For possession, drug possession over there at Torrance. They gave me 3 strikes. And I had 3 strikes, 25 to life. And that's what I was telling you about. That's one of the cases I got overturned.
And you've been homeless since you got out?
I just got out on another case in November. I did 5.5 on that one. It's not related to that one, but I went in there for some robberies then, bank robberies. I went in there for that, and I was able to use that judgment that I got against the state and to help get out on this one, because they was trying to strike me out again.
You feel like you get institutionalized?
Do I believe I'm institutionalized? I think so, because it's not normal behavior to just keep going, doing the same thing, getting the same results, and so There has to be something wrong, and then that's why I believe it's something mental, too. You know, we finding out now that mental, smoking in the home. The parents that smoked in the home or didn't talk to the kids or whatever. Verbal abuse. Would that happen to me a lot? Because I was a mess up. I was black sheep of the family, so to speak. Stayed in trouble. And so, of course, my mother lashed out. She probably didn't mean to, but of course, I believe that affected me. I know it did.
Was your dad in the picture?
Huh?
Was your dad in your life?
I don't know nothing about my father. I don't know nothing about him. I've never seen a picture of him, his name or nothing. And every time I would ask about it, of course, she would tell me, I'm your daddy. And then I kept pressing it one time, and she finally told me he was dead. So I don't really believe it, but that was a way to, shut me up, from asking about it. But no, I don't know nothing about my father, And most of us don't. Even my older sister, she don't. Only one of my siblings knew something about his father. No, I take that back. My older brother, he knew about his father, and then the one that I'm talking about that the incest happened with, he know of his father, and so the rest of us, huh?
Most of the kids in your family had different fathers?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, yeah. It's all together it was 10 of us, and so now it's I lost one, two. I lost two of my brothers already, and so it's only Tim, me, and my brother. So it's three. It's three of us left, and then I got my three sisters. So that makes six. Then I got another brother that didn't live with us, and that makes seven. He's in Detroit.
Of the 10 kids, how many have the same father?
I think two. That'd be my younger brother and my younger sister.
And everyone else has a different father.
And the rest, I believe so. Yeah. I'm not sure because we don't know. I don't know who the father. And then when I was young, I seen some guys around that used to come over early. In the household when we was in the projects back in Alabama. I used to see them come over. I didn't know who they were or nothing like that, but I remember seeing them. As a kid, early in the morning, drinking coffee and stuff like that, perhaps before they went to work. So they could be the father or something. I don't know. But I don't know the name of my father, and they don't either.
Do you feel like your bouts, your time in prison, are because of the way your childhood was?
I believe that has something to do with it. I'm under the impression that, like I say, about 80 or 90% of the people that's on drugs, have an underlying condition that causes them to use drugs. And that's something that we don't address either. All we see is the person on drugs, and we don't care how they got there, but it's something underlying that makes them do that, and they're trying to get a temporary fix, perhaps, and then of course you get hooked or whatever, and then the cycle keep going on. But it's definitely something under there.
What do you go through emotionally in your?
Mostly, wow, man, I went through a lot. I cry a lot, and man, I cry on a dime, because I really didn't get a chance to say much to my mother because we never talked, and I love my mother, and I never got a chance to really show her that I understand, and that. Because of course I've been in prison, over half my life. I was in prison when she passed, and so it's kind of raw subject, and it's easy for me to, emotionally, yeah, I've gone through a lot, even in the last few weeks, because I got reacquainted with some of my brothers and sisters because I haven't talked to them in a long time on my own accord, and then they found me. Downtown here, they found me, and so I reacquainted with them. And then some of the stuff my sister was telling me, and my nephew was like overwhelming, and so, and then it brings back all these, different memories and the things that I do remember. One of my greatest gifts, I believe, is that I'm able to recall things, in detail, at a young age, and so. And that kind of helped me, find myself, and it kind of helped me understand how this, could happen. Because I keep asking myself, why me? And why this happened to me? And so, of course, yeah, I believe it definitely had something to do with it.
Do you have children?
I have no children. I have no children, no girlfriend. I haven't had a girlfriend in I don't know how long. I haven't had no sex. None of that since I've been out. I haven't had no sex really in probably about, man, it's been about, it's been a long time, altogether. So my passion, is of course drugs. So that's pretty much my life. Right? That's my girlfriend. I've been my girlfriend. I'm trying to change all of that now, but that's how it's been for me. And so.
If you had your life to live all over again, what would you have done differently?
I don't know. I probably would talk to my mother, some more, and try to, get her to maybe share, some of the things she probably went through. And then if that would have happened, I think I'd have did better, because I would have realized, what it was she needed, from me or whatever, in terms of, maybe helping out, instead of causing her so much trouble and stuff like that. So I would change that. And then I don't know if I had the capacity to change something different, than what happened. Because I mean, this is just something that happened as I was coming up, and I believe I was powerless to even change any of that, So that part I would change, though, is to talk to her more, and tell her that I love her, and try to do whatever I can to show her that, I love her, and I understand what it is she went through, in her life, because she didn't have a good life herself. She sacrificed all of that for us, and it still turned out bad in terms of, the separation that we have today. I have today with my family, with my siblings. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's your biggest fear now? You've been free for how long?
Say that again?
You've been out of prison for how long?
I got out this time in November 7th, and so I've been out for, it's only been a few months now. And I don't know, I really don't, I guess it probably, success, maybe, because I never had no problem doing things like, because I'm pretty good at, I got marketable skills, that I developed while I was in there. I never had no problem working and stuff like that, because I always, hustled, the painting and construction work, gardening and stuff like that. And I stayed out of the household, and I guess that was a way to get away too, because every time I would come around, I would get these, the verbal abuse, and because I was, the bad sheep of the family, and so that was a way for me to, get out and kind of like be on my own and not have to deal with, the problems, of the family or whatever was going on. So pretty much when I came in, it was like sleep time or something like that, and I would do it all over. Yeah, so I have skills in terms of work and stuff like that, but it's never been official. I never had a job, and official job.
You've never had a real job?
No, I never had a job.
Wow.
I've been in prison over half my life, like I said, and so I know I never had a job, and not officially. But I always worked. I mean, I worked with my older brother too. He liked me because I'd go and help him out. He liked it how I work, and so a lot of times he would have me do things for him while he go on his regular job, and then he would come back and help me too. He was a contractor, my oldest brother, and so I developed some pretty good skills, stuff like that. So that was never no real problem for me. It's just the drug abuse that got me.
Wayne, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
The drugs, how drugs destroy you, because, you're not able to meet your appointments and because you're chasing the drugs, and And you know, you would like to do better, but of course, you know, you have a habit or whatever, and so you after that, and then you look up and time got away from you, and then the people that's around you, they see it. They of course they don't want no parts of it either, you know, because they know what it'll do, what have you, and so you lose that too, you know, with your family or friends or whoever, and you really probably don't get the assistance that you might need or the love that you probably would need to overcome the problem that you have. So, yeah, I definitely would try to change that. You know, so I believe I come a long way, but that's many years behind the walls, you know, and reading a lot of books and stuff like that, you know, that I kind of like found myself, I believe, you know, and so that's where I'm at today.
All right.
Yeah.
Wayne, thank you so much for sharing your story.
I appreciate you.
I wish you lots of luck now that you're out.
I appreciate you too. Appreciate you taking the time out.
Hope you get a job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.